Okay, I suggest we will start, and as I mentioned a few minutes ago, we will switch from Dutch to English today. Once again, a good afternoon to all of you and welcome to this already third exhibition floor, virtual exhibition floor of the year. Today with our strategic partner BOBST. A special word of appreciation to Koen Vliegen. He is the Zone Business Director at BOBST, who introduced VIGC at the BOBST management and marketing teams in the UK and Italy 2 years ago. And as VIGC, we are very delighted that BOBST decided to extend the strategic partnership for the upcoming year. Today, we have a very motivated speaker with an interesting story. Please let me introduce to you Andrea Pasquinelli, who has in the past worked for cosmetic and the automotive industry and joined the BOBST team as a product marketing manager a few years ago, and he will speak to us from Italy. For VIGC, the partnership with BOBST is a very important one because we want to expand our organization much more into the labels and the packaging industries. As you all know, a very important segment within our printing industry with a lot of new business opportunity also, and also a lot of technological innovations. And a segment that is in contrast to other segments, like, for example, commercial print, still has good growth figures. Last year, we signed some very important production companies within the labels and packaging industry as a VIGC member. So we are delighted to share with you today the insights about the market and the technologies of labels and packaging from a BOBST perspective, of course. Allow me a very short excursion to an upcoming VIGC event of which we started the Marcom, I think, this week, Wednesday, more in particular, the Benelux Online Print event. And also in e-commerce, labels and packaging gain, of course, a lot of importance. The VIGC Benelux Online Print event is called Back to E-Business this year. Definitely is a place to meet and peak with your peers around online print, and everything that is important in this space. So I'd like to invite you, and please join VIGC and his partners on June 8th in the Antwerp Zoo, for this international, and by the way, English spoken event, where we aim on 120 participants who will meet live. That's also nice. And also very nice, we have a very cool historical venue in Antwerp. So please be welcome. Today's goal of this initiative is to give our strategic partner the opportunity to share their new products, services, and general ideas directly and in an accessible way with you, our VIGC community, of course. And Andrea will speak to us on the topic, the new shape of label production. As customers get more demanding and job specifications more complex, you need hardware and software solutions that help you as a PSP to work flexible and with great accuracy at the highest quality, of course. And in today's world, everything is hybrid and digital and conventional technologies blend in each other as never before. The question then is, how will you as a PSP, and how can our strategic partner help you in serving the market at the highest level? And I'm sure, because I know the presentation a little bit, we will find out very soon. So to conclude my introduction, and before giving the stage to Andrea, I have to share some mandatory and practical announcement. As in all the other exhibition floors, my colleague Lisbeth once again is present behind the scenes for technical support. She keeps an eye on the chat function. So if you have technical problems, you can ask them directly to Lisbeth in the chat, and she will answer them immediately. For more content questions, it's important that you use the Q&A. These questions will be answered by Andrea at the end of the presentation. So please don't be shy, use the Q&A. I will moderate it at the end of this session, and we have the time to speak about some more things afterwards. So that's all what I have to share with you for now, and with great pleasure, I will give the stage to Andrea.
Thank you, Jos. Thank you very much for the introduction, and thanks also to VIGC to give us the opportunity to show you this new product we have recently launched. So maybe some of you already knows a bit about it, but so the intention for today, the objective for today is to walk you virtually along the press, along the value proposition we really want to push with this new digital master series. Obviously, you have also the opportunity to see it and to touch it and to see it printing in our competence center here in Firenze, and soon you will have it also in our competence center in May, and also in Alpharetta, but is a bit far away for you if you are joining from Europe. So let's start this journey and let's start having a look at the press. When talking about digital master series, we mainly refer to two kinds of press, the digital master 340 and digital master 510. So the difference here, or when we are talking about 340 and 510, we are referring to the print width. So you have exactly the same platform, but with different print width. And as you are reading on this slide, this is 100% modular, so you can start with a pure digital configuration and upgrade it on site during whenever you want. It's future-proof because actually you can upgrade it, and it's user-friendly because mainly everything that you see here on the screen, that you will see on the press, belongs to BOBST, has been developed specifically to work together. So you have what we say a seamless integration between digital and analog processes, as well as with the news that we are announcing with this press, that is BOBST AccuCheck, our inline quality inspection system that you will see afterwards during the presentation. Before looking at the press, I wanted to introduce to you the label portfolio, our label portfolio, so what we call one label portfolio, because here at BOBST, we can really offer whatever kind of technology is needed to print labels. So we go from inline flexo presses that you see at the bottom of the top of this slide, starting from the Nova M1 and going to the Master M5, Master M6. So really, I would say, automated and advanced press to print not only labels, but also flexible packaging, because the Master M6 is available in 670mm print width. Then we have our digital inkjet solution with the LB series, so LB701, available in 170mm print width, and LB702 in 340mm print width. And then we have, I would say, the second step that BOBST made in the digital printing journey with the Master DM5, so our all-in-one solution. So we are not talking about hybrid, we are talking about all-in-one solution, because actually it's not just a matter of putting pieces together, but our goal was to make sure that these pieces were seamlessly integrated in order to guarantee a production process without any bottlenecks. And then we move a step ahead with the Digital Master series that today is available in 340 and 510mm print width, and you can really create whatever configuration you need to print the job baskets you are printing today, or maybe the job basket you think you might you will go in the future. So you might decide also to upgrade the press you configure today with a more extensive configuration. The aim is to shape the future of label production, and the Digital Master Series is for sure a big step to reach this objective, because we basically refer to the needs of converters, and we develop a press really based on these three pillars. So you have 100% modularity and upgradability, exceptional productivity and quality, and perfect integration. This last one is not the last one. I mean, it's probably the most important one, since as it's written here, you have one press, one workflow, one operator, one supplier, one service. So everything has been integrated into one press from one supplier in order to deliver really an extremely ease of use for the operator operating this kind of press. But let's have a look at each of these pillars in details, starting from the 100% modularity and upgradability. So as we are all experiencing today, the market is changing, consumers are changing their behaviors in really an unexpected way and with an unexpected time. So converters today really need to keep the pace with these changes. And in order to do so, they need to have a press that they can configure according to their needs. So if you need to print specific kind of labels, you may need a specific kind of configuration, a specific technology. And we also give converters the possibility to upgrade the press they are designing today with whatever kind of accessories they might need in the future. So it's a low-risk investment. Investing in a digital master press is a low-risk investment, is what we say a future-proof investment. So whatever will happen in the future, you will be ready to cope with it, since you have the chance to modify the configuration you have chosen today. This is an animation to show you how it works. It is simple in the animation, and this is also simple in the reality. So you really can integrate whatever accessories on this press. So whatever accessories available for our inline flexo machines are also available for the Digital Master Series. Here you have some examples of the different configurations you can choose from. You can start from the pure digital and make it more complicated, adding inline flexo units, adding accessories on the rail, adding specific modules to produce specific application. So these are some of the accessories you can integrate in the pure digital configuration. So you have obviously flexo stations that today are really important, especially for priming, not because you need to prime every time you are printing with the Digital Master Series, but because maybe since we are facing material shortage, maybe you need to move from one material to another, and in order to get the same results on the second materials you are printing, you need to maybe to prime before printing. But then obviously the flexo stations can be used to produce heavy coverage spot colors if you are maybe into medium grounds, where you can decide to move some of the heavy coverage spot colors from the digital printing to the flexo station in order to save on digital inks. Obviously you can produce Pantone colors, but you know that with the digital printing unit, you can reproduce up to 90% of the Pantone colors available. You can do spot and color and spot and full varnish or technical ink, or you can use the flexo stations together with the combo laminator that you have on the right side of this slide to do cold foil or lamination. Then you have DLAM ReLAM. It's an important accessory because we actually install it in approximately 70% of our inline flexo press. It's important because it gives you the chance to print on the glue. So to print on the other side of the label up to 3 colors. You have hot foil that is not so common for a digital master press, because usually hot foil You use it when you are dealing with porous or texture substrates, when you're dealing with wine label, for example. Is more common to have cold foil. So combo laminator is for sure an accessory that is mostly used on our digital master series configuration. Yes, okay. And then you have several kind of other accessories, such as a rotary seal screen to do embellishment on labels. You have QN3, QN5. It's a really specific accessories to produce multi-layers labels. So multi-layers labels, you can do them in one single pass up to 5 layers, as it's written here, with our digital master press. Semi-rotary die cutting, it's really an highly automated die cutting unit. So it performs die plate change on the fly with just a push of a button. So when you move from one job to the other, you don't need to stop the press. You can keep printing, and the rotary die cutting will perform the die plate change on the fly, and you are ready to move to the following job. So you will obtain another digitally printed, flexo printed, embellished, and die-cutted label with really few meters of waste. And then you have rotary converting if you need to do, for example, some embossing or a different kind of solution. If you're looking for different kind of solution besides standard die cutting, you can go with the standard rotary converting solution. These are some of the examples. I mean, we took some of the configuration and we placed them some labels to show you what you can print. So on the top left, you have a simple label, digitally printed plus varnish. Then you have a more complex label, or it's still a simple one, the one on the top right. But in that case, we decided to move orange and yellow, so I cover spot colors to the 2 flexo unit upstream in order to show you the possibility to choose to print some of those every coverage spot colors with the flexo stations in order to save on digital inks. On the bottom part, you have more complex configuration. On the left, in this configuration, we added cold foil, and we overprint on cold foil because this is an option that you have. So you can basically put the combo laminator before the digital printing unit. You do the cold foil and then you overprint on it. So you can get different colors out of the same kind of foil. On the bottom right, you have special applications, or we print with the same configuration. Actually, a different application is a peel and reseal label. So you have 2 layers of label printed exactly with the same configuration you had on the left side. So here you can see it better how it works. So the first label has been printed with the label with the cold foil plus digital printing has been printed with the same configuration, but with the cold foil on the left side. Then in just a matter of few seconds, we move the cold foil unit on the right side to do a booklet label. So a different kind of application with this exactly the same configuration, and with these changes that took us only 1 minute, because you have the rail that allows you to move accessories along the entire press, even above the digital printing module that is extremely compact. On the other side, if you would have a bigger digital module in between the flexo stations, you would have probably to buy 2 accessories of the same kind, or to take the accessory out of the right side and to move it to the left side, with for sure an operation that would take longer than 1 minute. Talking about application and substrate versatility, we need also to talk a bit about our digital printing UV inks. So you have CMYK, orange and violet, and with these 6 colors you can reach up to 90% of the Pantone with the delta E below 2. You have a digital white, so digital white where you can reach 70% opacity at 45 meters per minute. And you need to take into consideration that our digital ink is really eye resistant, so you don't need to protect it with varnish or lamination, so you can save on, for example, on lamination or on industrial labels, because our digital ink is really eye resistant to scratches. Then, as we said before, you can do cold foil, you can overprint on cold foil. Is optimized for high-speed printing because we are talking about 1200 dpi resolution, printed at up to 100 meters per minute, and it's also CMYK white Swiss ordinance compliant. I mean, CMYK and white are Swiss ordinance compliant. Obviously, the entire process has to be GMP compliant in order if you are dealing with food application. But I really invite you to submit us or to get in contact with our expert to check what is your need today, what are you printing, what kind of food applications you are dealing with, in order to understand what is the best configuration, and to give you also the opportunity to understand whether our solution, our UV solution, could fit into your needs. So these are the application and the substrate you can print with our digital master press. You also have a wine label, for example, on the right side. Obviously, it's limited because you know that with UV inkjet you will struggle a bit to deal on with the textured paper, but with some kind of paper and with some kind of design, you really can also obtain some really good results. And then you also have shrink sleeve. Again, you still have all the limitation you will have with a UV inkjet a solution in printing with shrink sleeves, but it's still something doable, especially if you are dealing with standard shape. An example could be a can. So if you are producing shrink sleeve for can, you can also use it our digital master press. The second pillar of our digital master series is exceptional productivity and quality. So we really look at each stage of the production to make sure that we optimize each of these stages in order to get the maximum productivity out of this kind of press. So we started from the job preparation and management. Today, everything has been integrated into one single HMI, where the operator can control both the analog and the digital processes. So everything has been integrated into this single screen. The other screen you see on the top is for the web viewing camera to check, for example, the register marks. But everything else has been integrated into the screen below. And then walking down from left to right, we start from the jumbo, unwinder, and rewinder. So on every digital master series, you have 1000 millimeter unwinder and rewinder. This is the standard if you're looking into other inline flexo press, but sometimes it's not a standard in a pure digital press. So most of the pure digital press have a 680 millimeter unwinder. This means that they can load reels with a length of approximately 3000 meters. If you have, as in our case, if you have a 1000 millimeter unwinder, you can load reels up to 6000 linear meters. So it's double the length of the other solution offered on other standard pure digital press. So it means that the operators will change the reel not so often, and we calculate approximately up to 8% productivity increase during 8 hours production time. Then we move to the flexo station, and there you have probably one of the most automated flexo station available today in the industry. And here you have the reason why, because we have what we call DigiFlexo print tutor. So it's a automatic length and size register setup and control thanks to a camera available on each printing unit, and also in our digital printing unit, where the same camera is available to make sure that the digital printing is in register with the inline flexo before and inline flexo downstream. Then we have Print Tutor Plus. That means the pressure adjustment has been motorized. So basically, the operator just need to insert the thickness of the material in the main HMI of the press, and the pressure will be adjusted accordingly. So it's something that has been designed also for those operators that are not so skilled in printing with flexo. And then dealing with automation in conventional modules, we have to mention also the automation in our semi-rotary die cutting, or in the converting section, where, as I said before, you have automatic die plate change on the fly, so without stopping the printing, and you also have automation in waste matrix stripping. So everything has been automated in order not to have any bottleneck in the production process, not only in the printing, but in the entire production. So you can really start with a reel, with a white reel, and you get the printed labels, the cutted labels at the end of the process, really without any stop. And another things that need to be mentioned about semi-rotary die cutting is that it can run up to 160 meters per minute. So it's far above the digital printing speed. Obviously, this is an up to, but I would say that on most of the shapes you can easily run at 100 meters per minute. So again, the converting doesn't represent a bottleneck in your production process. Dealing with the digital printing unit, as I said before, it's extremely compact, so you can move the accessories on the rail. For example, this cold foil, you can move it on the flexo unit upstream in really a matter of few seconds. And then talking about digital printing unit, we have to mention the cluster that you have probably know already. And I don't want to spend so many words on that because we have a nice video to show you. Let's watch it together.
It all begins with a drop of ink. It may look easy, but the kind of technology you need to reach that level of simplicity is far from easy. The kind that delivers print accuracy and quality, that creates the perfect marriage of ink and media, that drives the highest speed and productivity. Introducing BOBST digital inkjet technology with our cluster, the most compact, robust, and scalable solution in the industry. Let's take a look at how it all happens. When the ink drop hits the paper forming a dot, it must be in the right place and size, but also create the right interaction with the surface across a wide variety of substrates. The challenge lies in controlling the ink flow before it reaches the media. BOBST uses 1200 DPI piezo drop-on-demand printheads based on electric waveforms to fire the ink. Piezo inkjet technology offers significant advantages. It ensures long performance stability and works with a wide variety of inks like UV and water-based, as well as different varnishes. But the real advantage lies in its ability to vary the size of the ink drop. To release the ink, an electronic waveform is generated, dislodging the ink from the nozzle. By developing our own algorithms to generate the waveforms, we can create 4 individual drop sizes at high speed. Smaller drops for the fine elements like small text, and bigger drops for high print coverage. With these proprietary algorithms, we achieve high print quality of 1200 DPI at 100 meters per minute. As it enters the printhead, the ink must be fully optimized before release. And this is where Movement Technology, BOBST innovative cluster, enters the picture. Around each printhead is the mechanical layer. This layer, powered by a robotic system, ensures that the printheads are automatically aligned. Above the mechanical layer is the ink conditioning layer. Here, the ink flows within an innovative 3D printed titanium structure. This layer automatically controls the viscosity and temperature of the ink and determines the amount of ink in each of the printheads. This ensures the ink is brought to its optimal condition before the printing starts. The next layer in the cluster is the temperature control layer. Its unique geometry can only be manufactured using 3D titanium printing. The unit is composed of complex paths that carry the ink and hot and cold water. The water cools the electronic components while maintaining ink temperature within half a degree. Above the temperature control layer is the brain of the cluster. The electronic layer controls the entire printing process. Made up of the most advanced processors, the layer generates billions of data pulses per second. Together, these 4 layers make up BOBST innovative cluster technology. BOBST cluster is an industry-first, modular, and compact unit that carries 4 printheads. By adding together single clusters into a print bar, you can easily gain print with scalability from 170 millimeters up to 850 millimeters or even more. It also enables flexibility from 1 to 6 colors plus white, as well as ease of implementation on different printing platforms. BOBST inkjet technology delivers the most compact, robust, and scalable solution in the industry today. BOBST cluster has everything needed to ensure perfect printing.
Good. I hope I'm sure you enjoyed this video. I really like it a lot. And it tells you everything about the cluster technology that really makes this possible. I mean, make this 1200 dpi resolution at 100 meters per minute possible. And also it makes possible to do the 510 millimeter print width in a matter of few months for us to develop the new solution. And another news is the maintenance device. So by default, on every digital master press is available an automatic maintenance device that basically can protect your printhead with the dry capping, but most of all, they can clean automatically and with a contactless system the printhead. So we have an air vacuum technology to clean the printhead after the purging. So it makes purge flushes. It protects the printhead with the dry capping when you are not using the press for a long period. It's not something really needed for a UV inkjet press, but maybe if you are stopping the press for 1 week or for 1 month, maybe it's better to protect the printhead from dust and particles using our dry capping system. And most of all, you have contactless printhead cleaning with this innovative air vacuum technology. And then we have BOBST AccuCheck. So BOBST AccuCheck is not something new for BOBST, because if you are into the packaging industry, maybe you already heard about BOBST AccuCheck in the folding carton industry. So this technology has been already deployed successfully in other industry of the packaging world. And now we are introducing the BOBST AccuCheck technology into the label industry. So it's something developed by BOBST, it's owned by BOBST, and has been integrated by default on every digital master series. So it's our, as I said before, it does 100% quality inspection and calibration. So calibration is available by default on every digital master series. That it means that it does stitch, so it does the stitching of the cluster. It does the calibration, color-to-color calibration, and nozzle compensation. And all these operations are automatic. So basically, it detects when there is a missing nozzle, for example, and it tells the digital printing unit how to compensate the missing nozzle. So the operator doesn't need to intervene to correct or to make this operation. So it's really another step towards the maximum level of productivity and quality, because yes, you can run at 100 meters per minute, but if you are printing, most of the labels are not good, there's no reason to run so fast. So that's why we integrated also this system in order to make sure that everything you are printing is good to be delivered to customer, or at least you know when there is something that is not correct, and you can get also afterwards a report of what you have printed, so you can also share this report with your customer. Then we get to the semi-rotary die cutting, where you have the maximum level of automation and productivity. So again, it's not a bottleneck in your production process. And then this press is available, has been set in 340 and 510. So one of the reasons why we developed the 510 millimeter print width solution is to increase the level of productivity. So we will see afterwards the product positioning for the 510. And one of the reasons, as I said, is the productivity. And here again is to summarize a bit what you have by default on this press. So this is a long list of accessories, of items, of features available by default on this press. And really, all of them are important in order to deliver the maximum level of productivity and quality. For example, you have what we call the world-class web handling technology. So the web handling is something that is normally that is normal on an inline flexo press, and today is also normal on a digital master series, because we use the same kind of technologies to control the web tension during the entire production process. The last pillar I was mentioning is the perfect integration. So it's what we call the power of one. So one press that can be run by one single operator, thanks to the high level of automation you can have on this press. One workflow, really important for today. One supplier and one services. So whatever needs you have today and in the future, you only need to rely, or you only need to get in contact with one single supplier for the digital, for the analog part, for the semi-rotary converting, for the AccuCheck, so for your quality inspection system. You have one single supplier to deal with, and this is really important and really distinctive for us and for this kind of press. So everything brings us to what we can say, or what we can define as ease of use. So this press is really easy to be operated, to be maintained, to be maintained daily and also in the future. So where we are positioned in the Digital Master Series, you have, talking about run length, you have digital, pure digital, where you can go from ultra short to short run. Then on the right side, you have inline flexo, where you can deal mainly with mid to ultra long run. Obviously, on our machine, where you can introduce high level of automation, you can get closer to the profitability of digital printing, but still there is a space in between digital and inline flexo, where we position our Digital Master Series that can really produce from short run to medium and also some long runs, if you are choosing, for example, the 510 millimeter print width, because the 340 usually can be, let's say, dedicated to this kind of applications. So we go from household, industrial, and automotive, again, because the ink itself is really high resistance, so you don't need, for example, to laminate. You can print these kind of labels without any kind of lamination, so you can use the pure digital configuration to print also these kind of labels. You can do beverage, indirect food, and also some specialties, for example, the peel and reveal label. For what concerns the 510, there are two main reasons why you would decide to go wider, to go 510. One is application. So if you are into coupon label where you have to print not only 2 layers but more than 2 layers, maybe 5 layers, it would be better for you for sure to have a wider machine. Then you can obviously produce large size labels like the label for the paint bucket, or some specialties. The other reason to go to a 510 millimeter print width is productivity. So obviously on a 510 you can put more labels than on a 340. Sometimes you can even double the productivity if you are producing specific size of labels. Here you have here you can understand what I'm referring to. So for example, if you are producing label from 170 to 255 millimeter, if you produce them, if you move from a 340 to a 510, you can double your productivity. And obviously, as I said before, you can produce also large labels. That's all from my side. So I'm really curious to have your feedback, your questions. So feel free to ask me whatever. I'm here to answer your questions and your doubts.
Okay, thank you very much, Andrea, for sharing your insights on future-proof label production. I think it's very interesting to see your digital and conventional technologies perfectly blend into each other. And it also confirms the story that I try to preach for the VIGC, that we work in a high-tech industry, in a high-tech environment. Very good to see. Thank you for that. Before we continue, I want to make a special shout out to Elisa Bertelli and Nicola Ogden at BOBST Italy and UK for making all arrangements together with Lisbeth for this session. And as Andrea mentioned, I think it's now time to look at the questions that came through the Q&A. So let me see, I have maybe an important question. Andrea, when is the machine available? Is there already a release date? Okay, so the machine is already, let's say, available for you if you want to run a demonstration. They're already available here in our competence center in Firenze, and they will be available, let's say, commercially available as of July 2022. So in a few months, they're there. Ready for shipping. Yes. Of course, substrates are an important issue nowadays. We are not going to talk about delivery dates, but which kind of substrates can be printed on this kind of machine, Andrea? Yeah, I mean, we can print on most of the substrates used for labels. As I mentioned before, we have the normal limitations that are common for a UV inkjet. So if you are going into a wine label or if you are into shrink sleeves, you need to face. I mean, you will face some limitations, but you need to take into consideration that since it's an all-in-one press, so you can integrate flexo modules upstream and downstream, you can really increase your level of versatility. For example, integrating an inline flexo module upstream to do priming on some specific material in order to make sure that your digital print will work really well on that kind of material also. Okay, great. So another question that came in the Q&A is which digital front end is included? It's a BOBST DFE, so it's something belonging to BOBST. So again, thanks for this question, because I didn't mention during the presentation that also this important part, so what happens in the pre-press before printing, is something really important, and it's important that this DFE belongs to BOBST, because again, everything is under one single umbrella. Okay, great. So I have a last question in the Q&A, and that is, can the machine be upgraded on site?
Yeah, for sure. This is one of the important pillar of this press, so it can be upgraded on site anytime, so you can really integrate whatever kind of accessories you might think you need to print a specific application. So, and you can do it anytime. So it's really 100% upgradable.
Okay, I think we are through at the Q&A. So this webinar is also recorded and will be made available for you within the next days. And we will also share the coordinates of Andrea. So if you have direct questions for him, you can reach him by email or phone. We will add that to the mail that we sent with the recordings. I want to mention that at VIGC we have some interesting trainings coming up within the next week. So please check the calendar page on our VIGC websites for more details. And of course, as I mentioned in my intro, I hope to welcome you all, you also, Andrea, of course, to the Benelux Online Print event in Antwerp. A really nice venue, really nice speakers. So you can't miss that one. That's it for now. I wish you a very nice weekend. And of course, I hope to see you back soon. So have a nice weekend and bye-bye.
Thank you everyone. Bye-bye.